Lecture 154. Science and Mythology of the Apocalypse. Total runtime: 25 minutes, 1,500 words. Since the dawn of consciousness, humanity has been haunted by visions of its own demise. The word apocalypse itself whispers to us from ancient Greek, originally meaning not destruction, but uncovering or revelation. Tonight, we stand at the crossroads of myth and science, peering into the abyss of endings that have captivated human imagination across millennia. I'm Dr. Professor, and welcome to Science and Mythology of the Apocalypse, where we'll unravel how our ancestors envisioned the end of all things, and how modern science both dismisses and confirms these ancient fears. The tapestry of human culture is interwoven with apocalyptic narratives. From the frigid north to the tropical equator, from desert tribes to island civilizations, the end of days has been foretold in strikingly similar ways. What compels us to envision our own extinction? Is it merely a psychological reaction to our awareness of individual mortality, or do these myths encode actual catastrophic events witnessed by our ancestors? Let's begin our journey through the twilight of worlds, both imagined and scientifically possible. In the icy realms of Norse mythology lurks Ragnarök, the fate of the gods. Here we find not a single apocalyptic moment, but a sequence of natural disasters. 3 years of brutal winter, followed by the sun and moon being devoured by cosmic wolves. The gods themselves fall in battle against primordial forces. Surtur, the fire giant, engulfs the world in flames, and the earth sinks beneath the waves. Yet from this total annihilation comes rebirth. A new world rises from the waters. What's particularly fascinating is how this Norse apocalypse begins with environmental disaster, a sequence that eerily mirrors some scientific climate catastrophe scenarios. Perhaps no apocalyptic vision has permeated Western consciousness more thoroughly than the Book of Revelation. The four horsemen: conquest, war, famine, and death gallop across our collective imagination, bringing plagues, celestial disturbances, and cosmic warfare. The imagery is profoundly unsettling. The stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its late figs when shaken by a mighty wind. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up. These visions, written during a time of Roman persecution, encode both political resistance and cosmic anxiety. But could they also encode astronomical observations or natural disasters witnessed by ancient peoples? Halfway around the world, Mayan cosmology conceived time itself as cyclical rather than linear. Their elaborate calendar system, which tracked astronomical cycles with astonishing precision, became the center of millennial panic in 2012. While popular culture misinterpreted this calendar transition as a doomsday prediction, the actual Mayan conception was more nuanced. The end of one world age and the beginning of another, much like the transition of cosmic seasons. The fascinating question is not whether the Maya predicted our doom, but how they developed such precise astronomical knowledge, and how that knowledge shaped their conception of cosmic time. Now, let us turn from myth to measurable threats. Among the most cinematically captivating doomsday scenarios is the asteroid impact, and unlike many apocalyptic fears, this one carries substantial scientific validity. The Chicxulub impactor that struck Earth 66 million years ago released energy equivalent to 10 billion Hiroshima bombs, triggering the extinction of 75% of all species, including the non-avian dinosaurs. NASA currently tracks over 28,000 near-Earth objects, and while none present immediate threats, the geological record makes clear that cosmic collisions are not merely mythological. They are inescapable features of our planet's existence in a dynamic solar system. Beneath our feet lurks another apocalyptic power: supervolcanoes. Unlike their more common cousins, these geological leviathans erupt not with mountains of lava, but with vast calderas that can collapse entire regions. The Yellowstone caldera, for instance, has erupted catastrophically 3 times in the past 2.1 million years. A future eruption could blanket much of North America in ash, triggering a volcanic winter that would devastate global agriculture. What's most unsettling is how these rare but recurring events might have shaped our mythological conception of world-ending fire and ash raining from angry skies. Climate change represents perhaps the most discussed modern apocalypse. Unlike sudden catastrophes, this potential extinction pathway unfolds gradually through feedback loops that could potentially push Earth's systems beyond tipping points. The scientific models project sea level rise, agricultural collapse, mass migration, and ecosystem failures. A slow-motion apocalypse that tests our ability to conceptualize gradual existential threats. What's particularly intriguing is how this modern scientific concern echoes ancient myths of floods, famines, and environmental collapse, suggesting that human anxiety about ecological disaster transcends historical periods. The most pervasive apocalyptic myth across world cultures is undoubtedly the Great Flood. From Noah to Gilgamesh, from the Maya to indigenous Australian traditions, narratives of world-cleansing waters appear with remarkable consistency. Geologists have identified several candidates for the historical basis of these myths. The flooding of the Black Sea around 5600 BCE, the end of the last ice age and subsequent sea level rise, or regional catastrophic flooding events. The fascinating question is not whether these myths are true in a literal sense, but how they might preserve cultural memory of actual climate shifts and geological events across thousands of years of oral tradition. Throughout history, the appearance of comets has triggered apocalyptic panic. The ancient Chinese, Mayans, and Europeans all viewed these celestial interlopers as harbingers of doom. Halley's Comet has been blamed for earthquakes, crop failures, and political upheavals across recorded history. The 1910 return even spawned a market for anti-comet pills when spectroscopic analysis detected cyanide in its tail. The scientific reality, that comets are primitive solar system material on predictable orbits, does nothing to diminish their psychological impact as symbols of cosmic disruption and celestial warning. Volcanic winters have repeatedly altered human history. The 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora led to the infamous year without a summer, causing crop failures across the northern hemisphere. The much larger Toba eruption, approximately 75,000 years ago, may have reduced the global human population to mere thousands, a genetic bottleneck still detectable in our DNA. These documented climate catastrophes provide scientific grounding for myths describing darkened suns, crop failures, and divine punishment through environmental collapse. They remind us that apocalyptic narratives may encode genuine ecological trauma. Our modern era has birthed new apocalyptic anxieties, foremost among them artificial intelligence. The concept of technological singularity, a theoretical point where AI surpasses human intelligence and accelerates beyond our comprehension, has become a secular eschatology. Leading scientists and technologists have expressed genuine concern about advanced AI as an existential risk. Yet this very modern fear echoes ancient myths of human creations turning against their creators, from the golem to Frankenstein's monster. The boundary between scientific forecasting and mythological thinking blurs as we contemplate technologies that approach the realm of the previously magical. Another scientifically grounded apocalyptic scenario involves pandemics. The COVID-19 pandemic offered a glimpse of global disruption, but far more severe scenarios exist within the realm of possibility. Antibiotic resistance threatens to return us to an era when minor infections could prove fatal. Meanwhile, advances in synthetic biology potentially enable the creation of engineered pathogens with no natural precedent. What links these modern concerns to ancient myths of plagues and divine punishment is the invisible nature of the threat, the unseen agent that transforms the world through its invisible spread. But how seriously should we take these various doomsday scenarios? Scientists have attempted to quantify existential risks through probability assessment. Asteroid impacts carry relatively low annual probability, but virtually guaranteed occurrence over geological timescales. Climate change presents moderate to high probability depending on human actions. Artificial intelligence remains difficult to quantify due to deep uncertainty about its development pathway. What emerges from this analysis is not a single apocalypse, but a risk landscape, one that combines natural phenomena beyond our control with consequences of our own technological development. As we conclude our journey through apocalyptic thinking, we might ask, Why does humanity remain so captivated by visions of its own end? Perhaps apocalyptic thinking serves an evolutionary purpose, motivating collective action against threats through vivid narrative. Perhaps it reflects our unique awareness of our own mortality, projected onto the species level. Or perhaps these narratives simply help us process the genuine catastrophes that have punctuated human existence. What remains clear is that the dialogue between mythic apocalypse and scientific catastrophe continues. Our ancient stories encoded environmental knowledge that modern science is only now rediscovering. Meanwhile, our scientific projections take on mythic dimensions as they shape cultural consciousness. The apocalypse, that great unveiling, reveals not just potential endings, but the very nature of human consciousness itself. Our capacity to imagine beyond our immediate experience, to consider the fate of generations yet unborn, and to seek meaning in the shadow of extinction. Music swells for unusual science. I'm Dr. Professor. Until next time, remember that in studying how the world might end, we learn what must be preserved. End credits roll.